So today is all about relationships, okay? So who's in a relationship here? Okay? So even if you're not in a relationship, you're in a relationship. But the ones we're talking about today would be with a significant other. But we're in relationships every day with tons of people. So you're in a relationship with your baby, you're in a relationship with a loved one, you're in a relationship with a friend, you're in a relationship with co-workers. You just can't get out of being in a relationship with other human beings. So we need to make sure that how we go into that as young adults, we're doing it with the best step forward. So the handout you have is a handout I'm going to follow along with. And you know, the first time I really started thinking about these three questions, these three power questions that can guide your life, it wasn't until my son turned 16 and I did this relationship kind of surrounding him with folks about the same number in this room, somebody that was his godparent, somebody that was his a close friend, somebody that had just started being involved in his life. Russ Unruh, the guy you saw there on the video, was part of that. And so what I did was have each guy come and say something about life and give him a tidbit of wisdom as he was transitioning into being, you know, not a little boy, but becoming a young man. So it gets time for my dad to go, and he throws out these three questions. He gets up and he gives his speech, and he's like, hey, there's really three things you need to know about life. Who is God? What does that mean to you? Who are you going to spend the rest of your life with? Who do you love? And what are you going to do with your life? What's your mission and vision? So he shares these 3 points, and I'm like, man, I didn't get any of this stuff when I was a kid. What are you doing holding out all this good stuff now? I'm like, you know, grown, and it was just a funny moment where he was pouring into my son some really good wisdom about these items. And if you think about it, you know, spiritually, that's that first whole question one: who is God? Whatever that means to you. What does that look like to you? A higher power, God from a Christian standpoint, God from an Islamic standpoint, God from an American Indian standpoint, atheist, no God. But what does that mean? How do you impact your own spirituality with this notion of who God is? Because once you set that, it kind of lines up everything else. So if you don't believe in God, or your version of God is somewhere out there, then who you're going to be with is more dependent upon you. What you're going to do with your life is more dependent upon you. But if you believe whatever your belief system is, your value system, that's what helps you track out as a human being to reach your goals, dreams, all that stuff. Have a good life. So if your value system is, I don't value children, I don't value people, I don't value relationships because I don't think that anybody values me, then what's going to happen to all your relationships? They're going to look like junk. But if you value you because a higher power values you, no matter if you're New Age or American Indian or whatever form of religion you are, that higher power created you. So that creation then means that you are worth something. So if you go from that standpoint first, you're not going to get a relationship with somebody who doesn't even agree with your version of who God is. See what I'm saying? So you have to set that up as the foundation. And if you're a valuable life, if your life means something, you want to do something with it. Then when you get down to the second question, who are you going to spend the rest of your life with? Then you also think, okay, well then the earth just didn't explode from a bunch of rocks, so therefore there's a higher power involved. And if that higher power is looking after my good, then there's somebody out there that he is matched or she is matched, whatever your version of that is, with me. And that match is now something I need to seek. So I don't just pick the first person that comes along that wears a nice clothing and has money. I pick people who are going to value me just like that creator maker does. Then the third question is, what am I going to do with my life? So what we're going to focus on today is two. And what I want to share with you is this whole idea that relationships really matter. Your partner, your soulmate, your lover, your best friend, a co-laborer, a co-worker. So why would we talk about relationships? Why would we say that relationships are important? What would you guys say if I asked you that question? Why are relationships important?
Relationships help keep you stabilized.
Okay, so relationships help keep you stabilized.
They form a bond.
They form a bond. Okay? What else? You want to say something else?
You get, you know, different perspectives on life, and you know, it's good to discuss and, you know, help develop you know, more of that side of yourself.
Okay, so you get a different perspective on life. Relationships add value to you. It's like having a a bland piece of food, you put salt and pepper on it, it gives it some life. And those relationships can give you that flavor, right? So what else? Others? What else why are relationships important? The bonding's huge. Creating that bond, that connection is massive. But they're also important because think about the times you've been lonely or afraid or doing something yourself, right? Doing things with other people, it seems to be more fun. There's some things you want to do by yourself, but doing things with other people is fun. Now, if you are a romantic person, you want to be in a relationship because there's all sorts of things that go with that. There's the comfort, there's hugs, there's having holidays together, doing a life together, sharing experiences together. There's sexuality. There's all sorts of things that are packed into that. And that's why relationships are so important, because they can also get so jacked up so fast and mess with your head. So Covenant, our mission is restoring lives, transforming generations. That's your life and my life. Restoring it to that original purpose, a good life. Transforming generations is so we restore our lives so that our kids don't go through the things we went through. Because that's not what we want to happen, right? We want them to be successful, to be above us in any way. That's what a parent wants for their child, right? So that's what it's about, restoring lives, transforming generations. The vision is this. We envision every person living in wholeness, relational, physical, emotional, spiritual, thereby ending the curse of child abuse in our community. So as we get people whole and ourselves become whole, guess what happens? That gets put right down to every relationship we have. It gets put down to right down to every child, every lover, every experience we have. We step into it a whole person. You're not going into it half full or with less information. So how do we get there? What's the why behind that relationship? I want to share with you a simple thought today about a powerful question, three little letters, W-H-Y, why. And you can ask the why question about everything. Okay? So I can start right here. We got a parent, right? Why is your child with you today?
My child's with me because his mother's at work. And I have to bring him with me wherever I go.
Why is she at work?
She's at work because she has to help provide for the family.
Okay. So why is that important that she helps provide for the family?
To help it'll be it's less stressful as a whole, because if one person's all stressed out due to financial issues or
right.
things like that, it causes stress for the whole family.
That's good. So why is it important not to have stress?
It's for your health. It can really destroy your body.
Okay.
Stress.
So perfect. I didn't mean to cut you short, but perfect. So the first answer was what? She's at work. What's the real answer? For the health of the family, for the health of everybody. There's a financial piece. Everything we talked about, relational wholeness, spiritual wholeness, physical wholeness, mental wholeness, financial wholeness. All that was said in those four little questions of why. So what why does for you is it helps you dig deeper. So now if I was to ask myself some why questions, why am I in a relationship with Kim, my wife of 28 years? Because I love her. Why? And then that starts to make me think about the reasons why I love her. Because she's funny. She loves God. We have a lot of things in common. She's a great mom. She's a great person. She makes me laugh. She's smart. And why are those things important? Because I want someone who's going to challenge me and be there with me to experience life and do the fun things together. And I don't like being bored. Why? Because I like moving around a lot. I like doing different. So you keep going down different directions, and the why becomes why you do what you do. Why did you pick that person? If you're in a relationship with someone and you can't say why, you need to bounce. Right? Because there's someone out there that's going to tick all those boxes of why you have them in your life and why you're in their life. And when you put those things together, that's when relationships become super powerful. So the 5 whys, you can ask them about anything. If we don't ask the why questions, we just talk about the symptom. Okay? So the symptom, when a doctor pulls in someone, and there's just this case of people getting botulism, right, from nacho cheese at a gas station. So when they come in and they diagnose them and they look at them and say, oh, you're throwing up, you've got diarrhea, you've got stomach pains, we're just going to give you some pills, and they send them home. There's no why. If they say, Why are you sick? I don't know. Tell me about what you did. I was here. What'd you eat? Why? Where are we at? Why? Gas station. Why? And then they go there. What'd you guys do? We set this here. Why? Because it was fast and it was busy. Why? Because we don't have the equipment that keeps it hot. Why? Because our boss doesn't pay for maintenance. Why? Because he's cheap. Okay, so we get down now to this poor family that's almost dying of botulism is all because some guy at a gas station didn't pay to have the temperature of the nacho cheese at the right thing. But if you just treat them for diarrhea and headaches and vomiting, we're not getting to the safety of the real issue. We don't get to the why. Same thing with your relationships. If we're not asking those questions, why do you love me? Why are we in a relationship together? Why do I do all the work? Why do you do all the work? Why do we fight so much? Why don't we get along? Why don't we hang out more together? Why are you always with your friends? Why are you always on your cell phone? Why are you always looking at my cell phone? Why do you want my password? Why are you always texting me crazy things? Why don't you stop? So you keep going down these levels, and then you get to who you guys really are in a relationship. But the why, that is such a powerful question you can ask about anything. Why are you in college? Don't go to college because somebody said to. Why are you not in college? Don't forget to go to college just because somebody told you you're never going to make it. Why don't you have your license? Because somebody said you couldn't. Who cares? Do what you need to do for you, but figure out that why. So now when we get down to here, then why am I here? There's a big deal between knowledge and wisdom. What do you guys think is a good definition for knowledge? You could cheat and read the paper. Knowledge is information of which you're aware. Okay? It's something you know about. Knowledge is something you know about. Okay? The sun comes up in the morning, it goes down, the moon comes up some days. That's knowledge you have. You're aware that there's a sunrise and a sunset. You're aware of there's an alphabet. You're aware of how to read or how to write. You're aware of certain things. That's knowledge. Okay? We don't expect toddlers to have knowledge about traffic and cars running people over. They live in a cartoon world where somebody just gets melted down and pops back up. Right? We don't expect them to have knowledge, so we have to protect them. That's our knowledge as a parent. We have knowledge that this baby's not developed, so we've got to protect them and care for them. The wisdom is that we actually do it. So he doesn't let a child just run out in the street and do whatever, even though he knows that there's cars and it's dangerous. That's the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is applying knowledge. It's the art of living. So the knowledge is it's dangerous outside. We don't let kids run around because they don't know anything and they will go into harm's way. Wisdom is I'm going to do something to prevent that from happening. Knowledge is I'm in a relationship. Relationships matter. It's good to be in a relationship. I want to have the right kind of person in my life. Wisdom is applying that. Knowledge is knowing you need to do 2 classes for THP a month. Wisdom is actually fitting it in your schedule to make it happen. Knowledge is knowing that you have to save money, pay your EYF so you can get a car, start a business, buy a house, do whatever it is. Wisdom is making sure you pull money out of each check and put it in the bank. The discipline of doing things, the art of living. So knowledge and wisdom are 2 different things. Why are we talking about that as far as relationships go? Wisdom is that ability to make correct judgments and decisions based upon what you know. If you're in a relationship with someone and you don't know their favorite ice cream, you don't know their favorite color, you don't know what they like, you don't know what they think about God, you don't know what they think about kids, you don't know what they think about animals, you just hang out just because you guys hang out and do whatever you do, then that's not wisdom. You're living sloppy. And we don't want to do that with the relationships because relationships are so vital to our life. So when you get down to this bottom part of the first sheet, why are we talking about wisdom and knowledge when the topic's relationships? So first thing is you've got to know who you are. That's what we started with at the top. If you don't know who you are, how can you be in a relationship? When you don't even look in the mirror and know who you are as a person. What I mean by that is the why behind you. Why do you get up every morning? Why do you exist? What are you here for? That's what these answer. What's your value? Do you see yourself as a valued human being that's awesome and lovely, or do you think of yourself as fat and stupid and dumb and other things people say about you? Right? Are you supposed to be loved? There's a lot of people in this world that actually walk around with a jacked up notion that they're unlovable, that they're not supposed to be loved, that they're just a doormat for people to walk all over. That's not true. You got to figure out why, if that's the case. What is love? You need to answer that question for yourself. What does it look like? And here's some of the things that I want you to see about why we're getting into this. So I did some research on, we've been doing work with foster youth for 20 years, but these are not my opinions. This is from a site called Foster Club. It's not in your handout, but I want you to hear these short stories. Foster youth's past experience, such as abandonment, abuse, or poor role modeling, can contribute to confusion about relationships, sexual behavior, and parenting. So just what you said about bonding, how crucial and cool that is, that we bond with people. Unfortunately, because of foster care and abuse and neglect, a lot of you might not have bonded with people. You may have, but you've got to restore that bridge. Because if not, you're taking that dysfunction into the next relationship. So listen to this. This is a quote. When you're abandoned, neglected, and abused by your biological parents, it's pretty tough to start to trust again. If my mom and dad can't love me and take care of me, why would a complete stranger? These are written by folks right in your pocket. So these past experiences spill into our life and romantic relationships. Getting over that hurt and pain is something we've got to deal with. Ask the why so we can get out of the struggle and restore lives to transform generations. Here's another one. I'm still struggling with hurt and pain that happened almost 20 years ago. If we do not feel loved, we seek it out in opportunities to create love. Sometimes these are healthy choices, but most often they're risky choices. Here's another one. A lot of people in foster care feel like they don't have anyone who loves them. When you're having sex, you feel love. Afterwards, it's whatever. But the acts make you feel like you're having your life in love. Pregnancy after the facts becomes dumbness. Here's another one. Girls get pregnant more in foster care because they feel like it's the only way to get love, even if it's not the person they want it from. So they just do it. I think if they had someone they can trust, they would talk to that person about the problem. Another one. When I was first in foster care, I wanted to have a baby, but I didn't. I was flipping through TV channels and saw these children living in poverty and decided that I really did not want a child. I wanted to wait until I could take care of my child and give it everything that it needed. The reason I wanted a child was that so I could have someone to love and would be loved back. So what did I do? I got a cat instead. So, these are real stories. The last one, finding a healthy relationship can be hard, but it's not impossible. I did not want to settle for just anybody because I needed to be loved. I wanted someone who could love me, would care for me, and be there for me no matter what. I can proudly say that she was worth the wait. I found the best person to spend the rest of my life with. So now, back to your handout on that page 2. This is why this matters. You're in charge of you. No one's going to do your self-development for you. You can sit here and just be here because we told you to come to a class, right? But let me tell you something. If you don't take to heart the things that are being said, you're just missing an opportunity. You're not filling your head with knowledge, therefore you're not going to have any wisdom. And we could go around the room and predict where we're going to be in 5 years and how many relationships each one of you have stepped into or out of or been hurt or jacked up and wounded and not fulfilling the whole goal you should have to restore life and transform generations. The whole goal you should have to live in wholeness, relational, physical, emotional, sexual, spiritual, all these things. Wholeness, financial. It's your life. That's why it says right here, you're in charge of you. I can sit up here and blah, 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 anything. But you're in charge of you. You have to go live it out. You have to go make the difficult choices today to do the right thing, to be the right person. And here's the second powerful quote, I think. You don't know what you don't know. It's one of those wild concepts. You really don't know what you don't know. I think about Spanish a lot. I told you that's one of my goals I've never achieved except a few words and phrases. But I don't know what I don't know. So I asked someone, hey, what's the word for this? Because I really don't know what I don't know. Or if someone's talking over here and they're speaking Spanish, they could be talking about me. I have no idea. They could be talking about the trees or a car. But I don't know what I don't know. Same things with you in relationships or any of these topics we're talking about. But people are here to help you know what you need to know. So that's what we're talking about now. So really, what do you know about yourself? How much exploration have you done into you? Who you are as a person, where you came from, what you struggle with, what your anxieties and fears are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? What are you really good at? What are you naturally gifted at? If we look down one more, you have to allow others to help you. So you have to be able to receive that help. So yeah, you're in charge of you. You don't know what you don't know. People are here to help you what you need to know, but you have to open up. People have gone before you and know the way. You know, I've gone through a lot of trauma in my life. I've had crazy things happen to me. And there's things that I know. There's things that Steph knows. There's things that every person that's in your wheelhouse, your support crew, knows. You just got to tap into it, right? I mean, you go open up the hood of the car. If you're like me, you just look at it. I'm looking at it. Might as well be a bunch of hot dogs and hamburgers. I have no idea what's in there. So what I do is I get someone who knows something. And I don't even have to fix it necessarily, but they know what's wrong. And they can tell me what I need to know about that so I can drive safe. Your life is like a hood of a car. You may not know everything you've got underneath you and what the problems are and what the strengths are. You may have a motor that's massive and can haul, but you think you have a tiny little motor. So you need to know you. Ask the why questions of yourself. It's so important in your parenting and family model. As you see here, what is the model you have? Where did you learn it? Who taught you? Why? Where? When? How? What does that all mean? What does that mean when you're a parent? Right? If you don't have a model, then you really don't know. You're just shooting in the dark using Google, which is fine. Now we talk about these intimate relationships, your soulmate, true love, and that connecting counsel you saw. But the real big key on the bottom of page 2 is this idea of self-examination, that you're actually thinking about who you are, where you've been, and what you have going on in your life. What's in your toolkit so you can do life better. So one of the things I had brought out for you is this relationship quiz, okay? So I want you each to do one of these. And we'll take some time to go through it. But basically this relationship quiz was also pulled off of one of the websites that are on the resource page of Covenantcs.net. And what you do here is you read the description of each quality and you circle the number that best reflects your relationship. So if you're not currently in a relationship, this might not be all that meaningful, but think about the last relationship you were in, if you're not in one. So safety, my partner and I both feel safe, are free from physical, emotional, financial, psychological, sexual harm in our relationship. That means with each other. We feel respected by each other. We handle disagreements in the relationship without either person feeling put down, insulted, demeaned, or unsafe. If you agree with that, then you would be a 3. If you are in the middle of it, you would be a 2. If you don't agree with it at all, it'd be a 1. So the rest of that questionnaire, each one of these items on this list, then corresponds to this umbrella on the back. And you guys can take this home. I really hope you do it. And what it allows you to do, if you answer 1, leave the section white. If you answered 2, shade the section in very lightly. If you answered 3, put it in more heavily. So for example, this first one of safety, we would actually leave it white if it was something that we didn't score well in. So I'm going to act like I took this quiz and I was doing halfway good in emotional personal growth. I was doing really good in compatibility. In commitment, I was iffy. In companionship, accommodating each other, and leaving that one white. So my umbrella would pretty much start looking something like this. And the white ones being areas where my relationship is in really bad shape. So if I'm getting pushed around sexually, physically, emotionally, if I have someone grabbing my phone and abusing me digitally, which we're going to show you some stuff on that, my safety's, it's not even in effect. I can't trust this person, they don't trust me. And so as you go around this wheel, it's pretty impressive to sit back and go, wow, this is an example, this isn't what I'm saying is me, but you need to know where you are at in this relationship. And what does that look like? In a perfect world, this would all be filled in completely. Right? In the worst world, there'd be nothing on it. So take the time to do that one. That's the relationship quiz. I think that would really, really, really help move you forward. Here's the next one. This is 11 characteristics of relationships that rock. And these are just really good points to think about, and they correspond to the umbrella. So, for example, safety first. You and your partner have to feel safe in the relationship. If either one of you don't feel safe, it's not a good relationship. If you have any fear whatsoever, that's not a good relationship. You shouldn't be in a relationship where you fear something. Secondly, emotional security and support. What that means is that you have to look out for each other's best interests. If your partner is always going for their interests and leaving your emotions, and they don't think about you or think about your feelings or how their actions are going to affect you, and they're not supporting your decisions to do whatever, go to work, go to school, be here, whatever it is you're tracking on your life goals, then that's emotionally damaging. Knowing and accepting each other, right? There's things about me that my wife thinks are nuts. There's things about her that I don't appreciate. But we know and accept that in each other. There's nothing we can do about it. We can try to change, but ultimately you have to accept someone for who they are in the moment. Authentic self-expression. Do you have the chance to share with each other verbally and non-verbally? Sexual fulfillment. That's important, right? That's part of your life. Fidelity, not cheating, not bouncing around and being with someone else. And then autonomy. So each one of these 11 characteristics of relationships that rock. So very, very, very good info about relationships that corresponds with the relationship will. But as we kind of move from this idea of knowledge, which these are, now you have knowledge, okay? So now you have to live it out. So if I was in a relationship, I would go back and share this with my partner. And I'd say, hey, how are we doing in this? And if they're telling you, or you yourself are going, I don't want to invest in my relationships, that's on you. You're just setting yourself up for a failed, jacked up relationship. And there's nothing we can do about that. We love you, want you to have the best life possible, want you to be successful. But if you choose not to do anything with the information given you, that's on you. We can feel good about resourcing you. Likewise, if you go to your partner and say, hey man, what do you think about this? It doesn't mean you're trying to be a psychologist. It means you're trying to figure out your relationship and what's going to work to make things jamming and awesome. A relationship that rocks. You don't need to spend your time with someone who's not even interested in developing your relationship. What's it going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Right? You want to be in relationships that have depth and meaning to them. And that's a lot of hard work. So if anybody ever told you that doing life's easy, that's just wrong. Life is hard. And you have to do a lot of hard work to get to the place you want to be. Financially, physically, emotionally, in relationships, as a family, as a parent, and all these areas. But it's possible. You just have to do the right things and take little steps every chance you can. And what we're talking about today is how you can take steps in the relationship you're currently in, or how you can be prepared for the next one you're going into. You can start checking someone out against these characteristics. They start giving you the heebie-jeebies and you're not safe, or they're all over your phone, or who you on the phone with, and let me get your Facebook password, and they're trying to troll you. That's about safety. They're controlling, they're manipulative. If they're only into you for your body or your room or your TV or your money, that's the wrong reason. You don't need that kind of love. It's not love, it's fake. But only you can apply this stuff. So we're talking about knowledge and wisdom. You have knowledge now. If you apply it, it's wisdom. And that's how you get into great relationships. By being a wise person that takes the knowledge that they have and uses it in life in the right way. So, as we kind of wrap up, I do want to share with you this kind of crazy concept of digital abuse. And they're on page 4 of yours, or is it page, what page is it? Sorry, 3? On page 3, this would be something that you should look out for yourself, and you should look out for your partner or your friends. If they're on your account without permission or demanding access to your phone, sending unwanted texts, sexual texts, sending so many messages or liking so many of your photos and posts that makes you uncomfortable. Okay, my own son's in a relationship right now, and he talked to me the other day. He's like, dude, my girlfriend won't quit texting me. It's like, if I say one thing back to her, it means that she can talk to me for 4 hours. And he's like, stop. And so, I was listening to him try to talk about it the other day just to be healthy. He's like, listen, man, just because I text you back doesn't mean I can sit on my phone and do this. I got to work. There's things I got to do. And, she'll get upset and say, well, you didn't text me back. He's like, I was playing a soccer game. They take 90 minutes, and then there's a halftime. So I'm not carrying my phone around in the game. But those kind of thoughts, you have to work those out in a relationship. Otherwise, you're on a leash. You're on a digital leash with someone, and that's control, and that's not healthy. Looking through your phone frequently to check if you're texting and your phone call history. What are they looking for? So they got trust issues. Anytime you're getting digitally abused, somebody's got deep trust and control issues. And guess what happens at deep trust and control issues if they don't get squashed? They turn into deep rage issues, violence issues, either against you or property. There's just somebody who was in one of our programs the other day. Looked at a cell phone, got mad at it, smashed it. Grabbed his cell phone, smashed it. $600-700 down the drain because of trust and emotional issues. That's bad news in a relationship. What happens if it escalates or there's now a substance involved? Alcohol or meth or something else that makes that person even rage higher. Next time it's a baby, or next time it's their person or a car, or they go and do something dumb. This is why when you read the paper and you hear about awful things happening in our community, it usually happens from something that started out very small and nobody adjusted their life along the way, and then next thing you know, someone hits someone in a DUI. 2 lives are dramatically changed. One is ended, one's in prison. Why? Because they didn't take the time to figure out who they are and ask those why questions. Why am I drinking? I'm sad. Why am I sad? Because I'm mad at my girlfriend. Why are you mad at your girlfriend? Because she's always on my phone and she doesn't trust me. Why doesn't she trust you? Okay, now we get to the base thing. She doesn't trust you. Now we need to ask her, how come you don't trust me? Then maybe she comes out and says, you know what, man? I haven't developed trust. You're the first person in my life that I even think I could trust. Now you can talk about it and have a healthy relationship and help her or him out of that pit. But you can't do that if you don't ask the why questions, if you don't even go from this knowledge base to a wisdom base that's going to protect your life and give you a healthy, awesome relationship. So, how do we learn more? You can read that stuff about digital abuse. What do we know about relationships? You need to figure out where your information is coming from on how to have a good relationship. Then you have to figure out what we need to do to adjust it. So you can read about relationships. You can ask other people that you see have good relationships, how they do it. You can ask friends, or the worst way, you can do trial and error. I'm going to date you, I'm going to date you, I'm going to date you, and I'm just going to see how it works. I'm going to roll the dice. And I'm going to get hurt, I'm going to hurt people, and the next thing you know, it's 20 years down the road, and I've had 17 relationships, and they're all jacked up. And I keep selecting the most jacked up person I can find because it's me, not them. I'm coming into the relationship with a bad set of baggage. So the best way, study. Do things like this. Figure out where you're at. Figure out who you are. Figure out what's going on in you. The easiest, trial and error. But your decisions as you become a successful young adult aren't about right and wrong. Now they're about better, good, better, and best. What's a good decision? To date this guy. What's a better decision? Not to date him. What's the best decision? To find somebody I really like that really likes me and values each other in a relationship. Good, better, best. So, the last part of that is, how do we get that help? So on the backside, that gap between knowledge and wisdom, we all need help with. Like I said about the mechanic in my car. I know something's wrong with my car, but I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know what I don't know. So I have to either go messing around with the engine, trial and error, or go get someone who knows more, or I have to go get a manual on my car. Well, I'm not going to get a manual on my car, so I'm going to go find someone who knows more than me, and I'm going to have them look at it, diagnose it, tell me the problem, and then I can decide if we need to fix it or junk it. But that's the same thing in relationships. So, what you have to look at is about you. So now this last page 4 focuses on you. What are your appetites, your hunger, your sex drive, your power drive, your safety drive? Where are you coming from in these big life moments, and why? How about your pride? Where's that coming from? Are you a doormat and just let everybody throw their opinions at you and tell you what to do all the time? Or are you a stubborn, pig-headed person that just always has to have it your way? And there's no in between, right? Life is a lot about compromise when you're in a relationship and figuring out who you are. And compromise is really a bad word because that means like compromising your values. No, it's not about that. It's about getting together and doing the right thing based upon mutual goals and values is a better way to say that. Now, lastly, that your desires. What do you want? What do you want out of life? How much money do you want to make? And when THP's over, how are you getting that $900? What's next? Where do you want to live? How are you going to get there? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What kind of family do you want to have? If I sit you down and say, hey man, tell me a movie about your life in 5 years and give me this full script as best as your ability. I'm sitting on a lake. I got a boat out in the water. I've got my honey right here. Kids are playing. I've got a dog and a chicken, and we're just chilling, right? Whatever your perfect vision of the world is, how do you get there? Is this why so important? And relationships are part of it. Because if you partner with the wrong person, it can rob you years and years of your life. There's a cost to your decisions today. There's a cost of the things you do. There's a cost of the things you don't do. And it's hard to understand that when we're young. I get it. But life proves out. And look around. You can drive out here and see 65-year-old ladies riding little kids' bikes with no teeth and a really, really great tan because they live at the river. Okay? That is proof to you that life will jack you up if you don't do something about it. So life can be hard, or you can be hard on yourself and make life easy. So as we get down here at the bottom, what do you need to do? These are 7 steps that I think are fun. Be humble in new situations. Learn as much as you can. So even if you're not in a relationship right now, man, I'd be filing this in the back of my brain, categorizing relationships, saying, man, I'm going to learn as much as I can today. Find a mentor. Find someone in whatever area you're focusing on that does it well and go ask them to help. Read stuff. Whatever you're trying to figure out how to do, read more about it. You want to learn how to bake, read about it. You want to be a better cook, read about it. You want to be a weightlifter, read about it. You want to learn Spanish, read about it. You want to travel, read about it. And then think before acting. Right before you take those steps in that relationship, think about it. How does this person check out on my 11 characteristics of a relationship that rock? If they've got 1 or 2 wrong, then bounce them, unless you're really willing to talk about that. And act on your values. Remember what we should talk about. Who is God? Who do I want to spend the rest of my life with? What do I want to do with my life? Act on those values that you have, but know your values first. If you don't know them, then you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know your values and you don't have a plan, then you're going to end up anywhere. But if you paint that picture and say, this is where I'm going, hey, you look handsome and awesome, go with me, then that's a partner. That's what relationships are about. Once you act on your values, learn from your mistakes. You're not always going to get it right, man. I could fill up this room with mistakes stacked on a piece of paper I've made in my life. But your life's not about your mistakes. It's about what you do and your attitude. It's failing forward. If you fail at something, fail forward. Don't let it jack you up. And lastly, share your wisdom. When you learn something, go share it. Take this home to your significant other and talk about it. And share the wisdom and let them know you're so engaged in the relationship that you want it to be better and healthier. It's not saying that it's jacked up and wrong now, you just want it to be better. So again, real quick review. Steps to win at life. Ask for help. Listen to advice. Accept constructive criticism from folks. Apply knowledge to life. That's wisdom, the art of living. And then celebrate your success and victory. Okay? Sound good? Any questions or comments? One of the things I think would be helpful for you to do as you step into this world of relationships is to hit this resource page that is on the website. And I don't know the password of that, sorry. But it actually has a page about self-worth. And so it's at the bottom of the page and it says self-worth, and it's assessing your self-worth. And that's a great place for you to start even before you tackle any of these issues, to determine who you are and what you think about you, and then to get to the why and pull that onion layer off so you see what's underneath. All right? Thanks for listening today. Can you pass those around? Sorry. You guys, any questions or comments? All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you, Randy.